Hey guys, welcome back to a new episode of If It Isn't Love podcast. I am your lovely host, Danisha. I call myself lovely. And this is my awesome co-host,
J.L. Woodson.
And we're excited to be back another week with another episode, Rona free.
Yeah.
Coming at you live. How do you feel?
I feel good. Definitely glad to be on the negative side of things, and now, but it's like, still the weather is changing and everything like that. Yeah. But at the same time, just glad to be able to breathe on my own. And as I said before, thank you everyone for your prayers and everything like that, and checking on me on Facebook, Instagram, and keeping up with us and everything like that. So, but yeah, I feel good.
Good. I mean, I know you feel good, but I want the people to hear you, because I have people still asking me, like, how's he doing? I'm like, y'all see us online. He's fine. He's good. We are in a really good space, and I'm excited about that. And I'm excited that we get to, in the grand scheme of things, move forward with our lives and think less about COVID. Although I feel like partially I think more about it. Like every time I see people do things where they don't have masks, I've had a few friends have baby showers and things like that, and I'm just like, there's no way I'd be pregnant right now surrounded by people without a mask. That would just be me thinking about my body being maybe particularly susceptible to the elements and just not wanting to be sick. But that's me. That's my life. And again, have had that experience with you just really is, I feel like, puts me on super alert. So yeah. So that's what I'm thinking about. But welcome back to another episode. I'm excited. We said that we're gonna do things a little more fun. I don't know if this topic is fun, but it's definitely interesting. And I think that's gonna bring out interesting conversation.
Oh yeah.
So, all right. So if you're new to the podcast, we talk about a lot of things, including a lot of love related issues, because we're a couple. And so we like to talk about a lot of things in terms of like how they affect relationships and things like that. So what I wanted to talk about today, I did present this topic because I had been hearing it in the news. And it's not that you don't hear it all the time, right? So we're talking about infidelity, cheating, and things like that. And what sparked it was megachurch pastor and pastor of Relentless Church, John Gray, allegedly, well, I'm going to say allegedly because I saw him post, apparently came out again having had an affair on his wife, Aventer. And
what's her name?
Aventer. It's like Aventer Gray.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yes. So he allegedly slept with, no, let me take it back. He had an affair. And so we can talk about what kind of affair it was.
Like levels?
Yes, there's levels to this stuff, apparently. So he had an affair. And so he went on to Instagram and he posted a picture of his wife, and he was just kind of like apologizing. And he was pretty much saying, I'm trash, and I shouldn't have done this, and like you didn't deserve it, and all those other things. And I wanted to kind of find the post. I lost it because I was looking at Christmas trees before this. His post, I'm not gonna read the whole thing because it is an entire like iOS press release.
That is a book.
Yes, he wrote a whole thing, but I will say he said some things like, I never knew what consistent discipline, planning, leadership, manhood, or personal holiness in action from a man's standpoint looked like. Living a shadow life, God was unwilling to let me die, assuming I was whole. I failed to uphold the holy standard of God in my marriage, and I'm sorry. Although you are the only woman I've ever slept with, emotional unfaithfulness is just as wrong. Sin is sin. People want to minimize one sin over another when it all can get you sent to hell. And he just said, he talked about he sat down, but there were some articles saying that he was set down. If you've never been set down, if you're not familiar with Black church talk, it is when you get set down, pretty much like you out here showing your whole
like
booty hole.
Jesus meeting.
Yeah, so like then the lead pastor will be like, "Come here, you
like,
can't
step
leave."
into my office.
Especially like if you're a leader. Pretty much. It's like you can't lead. You're not going to be able to lead whatever ministry you lead or whatever.
Mhm.
It's pretty much being suspended in ministry. So usually, and a lot of times in the black church, I mean, men do get set down, but like if a woman if she's a leader and she gets pregnant outside of wedlock, oftentimes set down, even when the man doesn't get set down, because there's no evidence that he was out here wilding. But so he apparently has been set down, and he had some there were posts where he was talking about the devil's role and making him cheat and temptation and all that. But ultimately he did say it had nothing to do, like, his wife, it's not, it's not her fault that he cheated, and it's not up, it's not her fault, and he, no matter what the temptation, he shouldn't have done it. Right. And so it made me think about infidelity and cheating and the potential levels to infidelity. And I know we've had conversations on like what our standpoint is on cheating and all of that. And so I thought it'd be fun to, I don't know, define fun.
Right. It'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting.
Very engaging.
Yes, to have this conversation. So I started thinking about how cheating has impacted, my life. And I will say that I don't think that I'm not going to say that I've never been cheated on, because I've been cheated on. But I will say it has never been, while I was with a person, I caught them cheating, or I knew that they were cheating on me while it was happening, while we were together. I've suspected that someone was cheating. And even the one person that I technically caught, he wasn't really my boyfriend. We were talking, and he had literally the night before, like, laid on like how much he wants to be with me, and he wanted us to be serious. And then I found out he had a whole girlfriend, baby, everything, the next day, because God be intervening on my behalf. I have a whole story about how that happened, but he wasn't my boyfriend, so that's partially why I don't consider it cheating. And I know people who were being unfaithful. I know some people who I found out later, like, oh, this person may, like, oh, he might have been talking to somebody else, but like while we were together, it wasn't like we broke up because someone was cheating. So, and I will not lie and say I've never cheated, because I have when I was much younger. And like maybe like when I was in high school, one of my first boyfriends, when I was in high school, he was being stupid, and I gave somebody else my number and was talking to him, and then my boyfriend and I broke up a few days later, and I was like, well, I already got somebody else in the line, in the queue.
I mean, I don't know, because like, okay, so I've definitely cheated before, and I've definitely been cheated on before. I don't know, like, honestly, like, okay, when I first started dating, or first started, like, even just hanging out and everything like that, or even being exclusive with anybody, I honestly didn't know how to date.
Should turn the air off.
I definitely should. Sorry, guys.
Do. I was just like, that sound.
I mean, it won't affect it too much, but should we just wait until it goes on?
No.
Okay. So I like, yeah, when I first started dating and everything like that, like, my mom was one of those people who's like encouraged me, I guess, to be more of a free spirit, if anything like that. But I honestly didn't know how to date multiple people and everything like that without like emotions getting involved and everything like that. Like, because honestly, I'm not one of those people who, I can detach, but at the same time I can still be fully into a woman and everything like that and be perfectly fine. Like, doing all the things like you should do as far as like going out on dates and everything like that, spending time and everything like that. But as far as me and cheating, I mean, I can't when in his moments and everything like that, I can't necessarily be one of those people who looks down on him because of the fact like I mean, yeah, it's his marriage and everything like that, but I have no place to look down at anybody else because of what I've done in my past. That's how I feel about it. Do I feel like, yeah, he's wrong? Do I feel like, yeah, they should move on? Yeah, because like this ain't the first time, and it ain't necessarily like he over here blaming it on the devil. Like, nah, bro, that was you. Just like I ain't blaming it on the devil for me. That was
Devil
me.
made me do it.
Like that was all me. Like I made that conscious decision to step out on my relationship, um, and do everything that I was doing. That nobody else encouraged me to do that.
I'm not gonna say I would look down on him, but I'm definitely judging. I am judging. You know why I'm judging? I'm judging because I feel like enough people don't get judged. People nowadays don't have shame. I feel like, you know what stops me from doing stuff sometimes? I'd be shamed.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough people out here are shamed. People feel too free to just be out here and be like, I'm gonna be raggedy. I'm gonna be trash. Some people should be. I feel like my great grandmother comes out at me like, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You ought be ashamed of yourself. More people need to be ashamed so that they can alter their behavior to not do shameful stuff. But in reality, I get we all make mistakes. I do think it's different when you're married. I honestly do feel like it's very different. And I'm not saying that it's okay to cheat in non-married relationships, because if you're committed to someone, you're committed to them.
Right.
But I do think that when you get to the point where the difference with marriage is not only I'm telling you that I love you, what you say when you're getting married is, I stand here before God and all of those we love, declaring my love, not only saying I love you, but my commitment to you and to this relationship. And to then just go out and repeatedly cheat on someone it's
selfish.
It's selfish. And that is a part, let me tell you, a lot of people, when they look at cheating and they say, what's their biggest issue? And I know I've had this kind of conversation with different different male friends, especially. They're like, I can't imagine my girl, laying with somebody else, or somebody else giving my girl
like the
pipe.
what was that, the best man?
Yeah, I don't want to imagine her having sex. My biggest, the sex is going to be an issue, but my biggest issue with cheating is the lying. It is the deception. Just like you were saying, my mom raised me as a free spirit, and you're talking about dating multiple people and not being able to detach. I don't think dating multiple people means detaching. For me, it's more so the issue is not being honest. That's the part. It is the not being honest part. Because it is, and I've heard this from men who I know who cheat, and women, but mostly men. And it's just my experience. I've heard them say the problem with telling their woman that, why not just be honest? It is the selfishness, because I want her, and if I tell her what I want and it's outside of her, then maybe she'll leave me. And so because I want her and I'm not willing to let her go, I will lie to her and cheat. So I would listen to The Breakfast Club, and some rapper or other was saying that literally earlier this week. He was saying, my whole thing is, I don't want her to have the option to not be with me. So I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm going to try not to let it interfere with what we have going on here. And that is my issue with it. Because my thing is, if you're going to be a free spirit, if you're going to do whatever you want to do, then give the other person, the other party in your relationship, the option to say, yes, this is something that I can deal with, or I would be okay with exploring, right? Because maybe I think I can do it and I really can't do it. But also give myself the opportunity to venture out there into the world if I choose. And that's also usually the part where dudes will be like, no, girl,
right,
you won't be dating anybody else.
No, okay, so back to the part where like me growing up and everything like that and being a free spirit. Like, yeah, I'm like, okay, I was told to, be with someone, be engaged with someone, not engaged as in marriage yet, but like be into them and everything like that. But I wasn't taught, like, it wasn't one of those things that was brought up where, like, if you are going to date multiple people, say something ahead of time, like say something in the beginning. It wasn't like, I don't think that's really talked about enough. Like, definitely if you are dating someone or if you're dating multiple people, like, yeah, definitely give them the option to, like, even the respect to be like, yeah, I'm dating someone. I'm If you want, like, if she doesn't mind me going out with somebody else, this and the other, or if we have an understanding, I mean, that will lead into a whole different conversation, but at least throw that out there. That, just to be honest and whatnot. But as far as like, I didn't understand that part until I got older. And I was like, okay, yeah, like, I'm terrible at cheating, terrible at lying. Therefore, it doesn't mix well. Like, me trying to continue everything like that and trying to be
So would you say you were bad at being honest? Because my whole thing with even saying, like, it with saying you date when you're dating multiple people and being able to have that conversation with them about it. I get that a lot of people are not taught that, but if you're not doing that and you're making a person to believe that they are the only one in your life and you know for sure that they're not, you're lying. So even if I'm not taught specifically, I should have this conversation with this person, something will come up to say, mom, and this will, my mom will love this. She always really got on us about lies of omission. And so that, in my mind, in whatever context you put it in, it's a lie of omission. Because if you tell me, if I'm dating someone, even then, right, back in the day, and they're like, oh, won't you come over, da, 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 and I'm like, no, I got plans. And then they're like, what are your plans? And I got a date with somebody else. And I say anything other than that, because if I say, maybe we don't have that conversation, but if I say, oh, I'm gonna go out on a date with Chad and we're gonna go to the movies, right? And you like, if he said like, what? And I'm like, what? I'm like, we never said we were, but if I say, oh, I'm gonna go to Jessica's house and we're gonna do homework, if I'm saying anything other than the truth, lying by omission, I am making this person believe that it's just the two of us. So I am creating this environment where, even if we never had the conversation to say we're in a monogamous or a committed relationship, just the two of us, if I'm not being open, especially when I'm asked, or just in terms of conversation, like maybe he doesn't ask specifically, but you know how you just talk about your day and stuff, and if I'm not talking about this other thing that clearly is there, and I'm in relationship with someone else in that way, then, and that is my biggest problem with cheating, is that it's the lying part. Like, yeah, don't sleep with other people, but also, like, if you're sleeping with someone else, I want to know, because my health and well-being is in that. So that's the part too. It's like, you could potentially be giving me a disease or something, and my thing is, then I need to know how I interact with everyone else, right? So I wouldn't want to be having unprotected sex with someone who's having unprotected sex potentially, or sex with other partners. I would want to know. So I'm like, well, if you're going to go sleep with other people, even if I decide not to sleep with someone else, I want to make sure that we're being safe and protective when we're having sex, so that we're not spreading disease.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, okay, so back to the part where you were like, you had a whole line of stuff right there. But the part where you were talking about, we were talking about the growing up and everything like that. honestly, so like when I was younger and I was dating multiple people and everything like that, and I wasn't telling each one of them that I was dating somebody else and everything like that, I was like brought to believe like that was okay. And it wasn't one of those things where,
Did you believe it was okay?
I mean, I saw everybody else doing it.
But did you believe it was okay? Because you saw people doing it. It's just like, oh, this is the way it is. Does
I
not
thought
mean
that was
I
the
think
way
it's
the
okay.
game was played.
The game is played, right? Like, this is trash, but it's acceptable for me to participate in trash activities. It doesn't mean that it's okay. It's a lot of stuff I'm like, here's what we do. Like, I know it's wrong, but when people was out here hunching at the church, we knew it was wrong. You had to hunch and continue.
That was the thing. Like, I honestly didn't even think about it. Okay. I mean, I'm not basically saying that I was right or saying that I was wrong in that sense, like whether I thought about it or not. I just really didn't think about it. It was one of those things where like I was just having fun. I was doing stuff. That was it. I can't really explain it in any other way. It wasn't until like, I got older and everything like that, and I'm like, okay, I honestly really need to start thinking about this type of stuff. Because honestly, like everybody kept talking about playing the game, the whatever dating game that is and everything like that. And honestly, I wasn't that great at it. But I mean, I've had some very good relationships. But honestly, it was like there was always room for improvement, especially on my end. But especially being around people who were like even more trash than I was at dating, or basically they were basically doing way more stuff than I was doing. Like, I'm like, okay, is this the way this is supposed to go? Like, and everybody's like, because it wasn't just men doing it, it was women doing it too. So it was like one big ass cycle and everything. Oh, we gotta eat.
No, well, even without the cursing, because of the content of the conversation, it probably would. I don't even think about that anymore. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's not for kids. It's not for kids. Okay, let me tell you. Sure. I don't do things for children. In terms of like the content that I produce, it is not for children. Right. Because I'm an adult, and I'm not gonna have very many non-adult conversations.
Indeed. So like, and it wasn't like I said, it wasn't until I got older that I started reflecting and really started thinking about all this stuff that like I started looking at other people's relationships like, like we definitely got to do better and everything like that, trying to make sure everything like is like, because everybody's going to want what they want. Like if they want multiple women, they're going to want multiple women. I just think back then, like, I could have definitely handled things differently. I could have done better because of the fact I could have just been honest about the fact that I wanted to date multiple people. But like I said, I didn't really think about that type of stuff back then.
And I get it, but that's what I'm saying. It's not like I thought about cheating or whatever, and I understood how it went, but my whole thing was just in my own rearing about lying, and that's how I knew. And just because I don't know, I just grew up in this space where lying was such, like, I know people say there's no degree to sin, but lying was like the worst thing you could do. I don't know if other Black people grew up like this, Black children. I wasn't even allowed to use the word lie. It was like synonymous with shit. Like, you could not say the word lie.
You said fib or something like that?
Tell a story. My cousins, y'all know this. All my cousins, and it's so funny because even as adults, sometimes you might be like, now you know she over there telling stories. So that was the whole thing. And I had one cousin, Lisa, I used to say that she was an older cousin, and I would say, like, tell a story, and she'd be like, do you have a book? And I'd be like, huh? And she'd be like, all this telling story. You know, she was like in her 20s, and when we were like little kids, and she'd be like, all this telling stories. She's like, if somebody not telling the truth, it's a lie. But like, God forbid, if I and don't you calling an adult a lie? Oh my God, just get ready to pick your teeth up off the floor. Like, to this day, if my mother is lying about something, I've grown out of saying telling stories, but I won't say call my mama a lie or a liar. Oh God, if I call her a liar, I would say she'd be like, "What? You just call me a lie?" I would be like, "No, I said you are lying. You're doing an action. You're not telling the truth, mom." And even that is like slippery. She
It's a
was like, "You
slippery
might as well
slope.
just had called me a bitch." Like at that point, she would just be like, saying, in her mind, it's the same thing. So that is a seriousness that I grew up with lying, and I told you about like lying by omission. And so for me, that's just where it comes out of. It would just come out, and I didn't date a whole bunch as like a teenager or things like that. And so I knew people did stuff behind people's backs, and even like I said, when I had my boyfriend, and I, even though I was fairly naive to a lot of things. And so, like, when I gave the one guy my number, he was just like, we can just be friends. I actually told him I had a boyfriend. I remember we met on the train. This is somebody who I ended up dating like years and years until adulthood, off and on. But I told him, like, he caught me and Evie. We were at Magic Photo taking pictures for I think we're taking a picture for my 17th birthday, and he was just like,
airbrush.
and we happened to see, he saw us coming out of North Riverside, coming out of the mall. Him and his brother followed us, and when we finally got on the train, he was like, I just been wanting to talk to you. I had seen y'all a few times at the mall, and he's like, what are you guys doing? And I was like, oh, it's my birthday. I was taking pictures, and he asked if he could see him, and I showed him my picture, and he was just like, I would love to have one. And he was like, and you could put your number on it. And I was like, I have a boyfriend. Even though stuff was wrong, and he was just like, we could just be friends. And I was just like, okay, right? I'm getting attention. I look cute that day. My mama had let me go get my hair done. And so I just wrote him like a message, and I was like, to my new friend. I think I put like, to my new friend Corey, blah, 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 blah. Have a great day. Here's a picture of me. And I put my number on it. He had messaged me, and it was like, he was just like, I think you're so pretty. And I kept telling him I had a boyfriend. Maybe like the next weekend after my birthday, I broke up with my boyfriend at the time. And then like Corey and I had been communicating, but I had kept it very like, I have a boyfriend. I would get off the phone with him and say like, oh, I'm about to call my boyfriend. Like now in retrospect, right? Naive, because this person was pursuing me and dating, and we did date later. But I considered that cheating, because towards the very end, like maybe like a week or two, when my boyfriend was like getting on my nerves, I was like, well, I'm gonna call Corey instead, because this person is getting on my nerves. So I'm gonna call this person who is gonna tell me nice stuff and not aggravate me. And so I get that. Like 17-year-old me, like now understands, that. Well, I mean, 33-year-old me gets what 17-year-old me didn't get. Right. But I just think overall, why I don't condone cheating, and why I've never been in like a cheating scandal and things like that, is because of the lying. I just don't understand. I don't get it. I just really feel like it makes more sense to tell a person, I'm unhappy in the situation we have here. And whether it be a physical unhappiness, an emotional unhappiness, whatever kind, where it's like, this is not satisfactory, this relationship, and so we need to do work to fix this. Or when people decide like, I want to be with somebody else, like maybe I know people decide like, it's not you, I just also want to be with somebody else. I would rather just put that all on the table and have that conversation than add the layer of lying. That's the problem, because I could forgive humanity in terms of like wanting something different. As much as I know you love me, as much as attractive as I think you find me, I don't at all believe that you'll never be attracted to any other woman, or that you'll never find another woman attractive. I would not advise that. I think that was weird. Like I would think it was weird. Like you should find other people attractive. You should. I'm not saying you should go sleep with other people. You should be attracted to other people, right? And sometimes it's their personalities, sometimes it is their physicality or whatever about them. But I just believe that if anything ever changed, where you would want something outside of our relationship, that it be a conversation. I know that sounds weird for a lot of people, but that I could entertain. I could entertain a conversation. I could have that conversation to figure out why you feel that way. And I'm not saying I'm going to go for it. I could be like, no, it's not what I signed up for. It's not what I want. But I also do realize, like, people say it's not what they signed up for. The longer you're in a relationship, I mean, we change all the time. Who I am today is not who I was 3 or 4 years ago. So I'm not going to say that, I used to have a very trash opinion on certain things,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like homosexuality. I used to think very contrary to how I think today. And I think that as I get older, hopefully I continue to evolve and become more learned and informed. Learned is a word, thanks. And informed and and grow. And so
Mm-hmm.
I just absolutely feel like I would rather that. But once you cheat and once you lie, that's the thing. I'm like my mama now. Once you tell me stories, once you lie to me, now it's like I don't trust you because there are certain things in that I feel like, well, why didn't you just have this conversation? Like, why did you say that?
Right. I mean, okay. So even the part about finding somebody else attractive and everything like that, like it took me a while to understand that part.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, of course, like when I was younger and whatnot, I was always like, okay, um, like neither one of us should be looking at anybody else and everything like that, even though like I'm still gonna do it anyway.
I'm gonna be looking.
Right. So, and it's like I'm gonna look as well, and it's not anything anything bad about it, or it's not anything that neither one of us should be ashamed about to appreciate how somebody else looks.
Yeah.
Um, it's one of those things where like when it goes beyond that. So I think especially like previous relationships, like if I found somebody attractive, I probably should have been more the mindset like because of course like if I'm like if I'm looking at somebody else, it's like okay, that's very nice. I'm looking at the shave and everything like
It's
that.
very nice.
Like it's
That is acceptable to my eyes.
shut your face.
Excuse me, ma'am. The rotundness of your behind is acceptable to my ocular vision. Thank you.
But it's like one of those things where like okay, I hate to compare this to food, but I love food too. So um it should have been one of those things where like versus approaching that person or asking them out on a date or anything like that, it should have been more so like I got that at home. Same thing with food, like I got food in the refrigerator, I'm gonna just go ahead and go home.
You are not comparing me to food in the refrigerator.
Not you. Like it was just like the mindset, like you have something at home that you like, granted you're not food and everything like that, but is more so like you have somebody that you find very attractive at home, you have somebody that loves you and that you love back at home, um somebody that you have grown with and continue to grow with and everything like that. And also, why would you want to jeopardize that like especially in previous relationships, like that should have been like what I thought.
Love should have brought you home.
And that's basically like, granted we don't go nowhere, but at the same time like whenever like we have gone to dinner and everything like that and both of us checking out somebody and whatnot, it's like okay, that looks nice.
I just feel like, and I'll say that if I'm looking at a person that I find attractive, I'm not thinking about. I guess I never think about what happens after this, and so I think, and this is my opinion. I think that's kind of the difference with men and women. Is sometimes like you having to remind yourself, like I got something at home. I'm not thinking because I'm not considering leaving it. Leaving beyond this moment. I'm not considering me looking at this person beyond this moment. So it is not tied to you at all. So I'm not thinking like, oh, that's great, but I got something at home. I'm just thinking like, man, he is fine. Or I'm thinking, damn, she's fine. Like, I'm just thinking this person is attractive and I like the way looking at them makes me feel and seen. I'm not thinking like, even if I were to have a conversation with this person, like I'd just be like, oh, and they're funny. Okay, that's cool. But like, I just feel like if they tried to like say something to me, then I'd be like, oh no, I'm involved. Like, but I just really think that enjoying another person's company should be and can be very separate from the relationship that you're involved in, because I in my mind I never take it to the like this is gonna go somewhere or it could go somewhere. I'm just like I'm enjoying the even though like I'm watching TV, I can be like, oh, okay, this channel, okay. If anytime I watch the Avengers, okay, let Thor, Chris Hemsworth across the page, I'm not thinking about nothing else, but I'm trying to go to Asgard. That's it, Asgard in my mind. That's it.
But okay, so there is definitely a difference. Like I can't speak for all men, but I can speak for myself. So yeah, whenever I've looked at a woman's, like, especially I'm much more attracted to a woman's ass. If it's there, it's just there. But what?
Doesn't sound. No,
Huh?
go ahead.
But there have been times where it's like one of those things like, yeah, I would definitely hit if I was single.
See, why is it that?
I don't know why.
And that's, I guess that's what I'm thinking, because you're like, I'd hit. And I just like, I'd see a man who I think is attractive and I wouldn't think like, I'd let him hit. It's just like, he's fine. Mm-hmm. That's it. I'm not thinking about his genitals necessarily, unless he's out here like flopping it around. But I'm still not thinking about like his genitals coming into contact with mine. I'm just thinking like, he's fine. And
but I mean, I can't explain it.
I just also know like the headache men bring, and I'd be like, and maybe that's part of it. I'd be like, not worth it.
But that's why, like, okay, that's why I said, like, even before, when it's more so like the whole food situation and everything like that, or just comparing that situation to that. I don't know why. I can't explain it.
Something about that Y chromosome.
Anyway.
Gotta be, because double X is weird.
I mean, just because you guys don't necessarily view men the way we view women, it's not, I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I don't necessarily feel bad about that.
It's not that you gotta feel bad. I'm just saying that process, it doesn't even, and that's why I think that sometimes, honestly, because I think we've had this conversation, we talk about like flirting in a relationship, and for me, I don't see anything wrong with it. I know you do, so I always think that in most instances, many instances, I just default to the person. I think in relationships, it defaults to the person who has the most issue with it. If I'm indifferent, you take issue, then it's just like, all right, then I won't do it, because it doesn't make me any never mind. But I know absolutely that I could allow someone to flirt with me. I could compliment someone and flirt and it not be anything. Like, it's not that. Like, if I've gone out to a bar and I've had guys just buy me drinks because they're like, I just think you look really nice and I want you to have this drink, and walk away. And even if it's game, it's happened on multiple occasions, and I've never had conversation with them after. Like, they see me at another point in the night and they're talking to somebody totally different. They go home with somebody totally different. They might be playing games and they girl out there in the crowd and she wants to see them buy me drink. I don't know what happens, but it has happened. And I think that kind of stuff happens and it means nothing, because I honestly believe that when people cheat, I don't think it happens on accident. I believe like there is something like deficient, whether it be in you or perceivably like in the relationship that you're in, where cheating is an option, and it's not an option for me. So that's why I just feel like sometimes it's like, no, I'm not gonna do it because it's not in me. I'm not saying cheating is not in me. It's not in me to.
I'm like, yeah, everybody has the possibility.
I mean, in the sense that anybody can do anything, but it's not to say, yes, anybody can do anything, but the likelihood for some people is much less than others. It's not likely because I believe in radical honesty. I would rather honestly hurt your feelings than lie and hurt your feelings. I know it sounds crazy, but I'd rather be like, this person may not like this, but this is honest and this is how I feel. And I would rather have those conversations, no matter how uncomfortable, no matter how, unpleasant, because it's real, than to lie and I'm not saying that you don't lie to make people feel good, right? Because I believe in that too. I think by Nikki Giovanni in her conversation with James Baldwin. Yes, lie to me. Yeah. So you go out there and smile in the white man's face. Come home and lie to me. I believe in that, but I don't believe in being dishonest in terms of the foundation of our relationship. Mm-hmm. I would rather say I'm lacking this thing here, and I want it to figure out how to do it here. I'm not gonna go out and find it somewhere and then leave you thinking we're fine. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. People are like, well, this person's never home every time I watch Divorce Court because I love it. Yeah. When people this person's not home, or they always out here, or they don't give me attention. Have you tell these people? Then the judge is like, have you told this person that? No. How do you want them to fix something that they don't know?
True. I mean, I'm sorry. What?
You cracking like you had some. Gosh, you're gonna have arthritis.
Anyway, but I mean, I don't like. I don't. I mean, I can't really like, because most of this stuff like I didn't think about until I got older.
Okay, I mean you're older now, much older.
So it's not necessarily, or even sometimes like when I'm hanging out with friends and everything like that, we're not having conversations like this, or we're not really diving deep into our mental our mindsets and everything like that when it comes to stuff like this, because it's like, okay, like granted, I do not want people to make those same mistakes that I did. I mean, granted, I learned a lot from those, but at the same time, like especially like whenever we have children and everything like that, I would at least like for them to like understand, like, okay, this is just some stuff that you just don't do.
They're gonna have radical honesty like their mom. I know it annoys people, but I just be like,
Dad, you're getting fat.
But I always tell people like, but did I lie? Or like, but did you not know that? And no one will ever tell me like, no, I didn't know you felt that way. You will not know. You'll know I felt that way because I said it.
But also, like, okay, when I was like, basically, this is no excuse, but this is also what happened when I was younger. Like, okay, I was always being called an asshole for that. Always being called an asshole for that.
I'm called an asshole as an adult. I don't care.
I feel you. It's just, I'm like, okay, like, I told you the truth. I explained to you from the get-go, like, yeah, no, I'm with somebody. I do not want to be with you. All of a sudden, I'm an asshole and I'm mean.
And I think delivery matters, right? So I have learned that because I have had to adjust my delivery. Mm-hmm. Because I say things oftentimes like I don't want to hear it. Just, I'd be like, oh, you're using a lot of words. Just tell me what you're trying to say. Say it so we can move it. People don't know how to do that. They just beating around the bush. Because you got to beat around. Is that beat? That's beating around the bush.
Oh my God.
They love beating around the bush. And I just be like, say what you mean. Say it with your chest.
Violent ass hand.
I just say what you're trying to say. And so I've learned that I've had to assess who needs it like me, who needs me to just say it with my chest and say, and who needs beating around the bush. So I do believe like delivery matters. So I will say, and it has helped, because sometimes I've had to tell people like, I really want to tell you this, and you have to preface it. I want you to know, like, it is not my intent to hurt your feelings. But even if I realize, even if my intention isn't to hurt your feelings, doesn't mean your feelings won't get hurt. Mm-hmm. And so I acknowledge that. I acknowledge that what I need to tell you could potentially hurt your feelings. And I accept that. I accept my role in that, right? Let me tell you, also go to therapy, because therapy has helped me a lot in being able to put this kind of thing into words and to have this type of honesty with people when it comes to matters of the heart, right? Now, in terms of lying, like, yeah, I might lie about small stuff. Like, yes, girl, that dress looks awesome on you because you really feel that dress. You spent a lot of money on it, and I'm not here to hurt your feelings. Because for what? It won't do me no well to be radically honest in those moments. Like, hey, I'm gonna hype my friend up, whatever. But in matters of the heart, I think that it really is important, and to have those conversations. And then if a person decides, and this place we have to figure out as people, like, am I hurt because of what this person said, or I'm not hurt because of what the result is, right? If I really want to be with you and you're telling me I really don't want to just be with you, I'd like to date you, but I want to date other people.
Mhm.
I'm upset that you don't want just me and I just want you. I'm not upset that you want that's what you want for your life. You're entitled. I'm sorry. You're entitled to want that for your life.
Weird.
You're entitled to want that for your life. I'm upset because you don't want what I want.
Mhm.
And I think that people have to be able to have that kind of self-analysis to say, why am I mad? And I will agree that many people don't have that. That also is not my fault. And so because you ain't grow up that way, or because you don't have that kind of ability to be honest with yourself, doesn't mean that I should lie.
Mhm.
I don't like to be right. I don't like to be wrong. I want to be right. And so ultimately, I don't want it. Cheating will mean I'm wrong. And then I gotta apologize. I ain't trying to apologize. I don't want to. That's a great cheating deterrent. Other than the fact that all the other reasons I've listed,
Mhm.
the fact that I could potentially have to apologize for being wrong, nope, not gonna do it.
Like, okay, the reason why, like, even with that, like, okay, like, I honestly had to I'm like, bruh, like, looking at mirror, like, bruh, you are terrible at this. You don't lie well.
Yeah, you can't even lie
You're
about
dusty.
small stuff. So
Huh?
you don't even lie well about small stuff. You'd be like, no, I didn't eat that. I'd be like, yes, you did. First of all, chocolate on your face. Also, you just can't keep a straight face to tell me no. And I'd be like, nah, I ain't eat that. I know you found the corn nuts in the car. Wasn't mine. I know I'm the only person who eats corn nuts. It's fine. It didn't belong to me.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
I ate that 5 years ago. That was, yeah, I know I got a car this year, but I ain't eat that for
Okay.
But what I'm saying is I could lie. You're really bad at it. We're just going to the part that how bad you are at lying. I don't even know why you try. For what?
That's why I don't even actively try.
That's why I know when things are happening that are supposed to be a secret, you won't talk about it because you can't lie about it. So you would just be like, I'm just not going to say anything. So that's how I be knowing. I'd be like, oh, something's happening but you don't want to talk about it. So I just be like, all right.
Trying to think of when that is.
Don't think about it on air. Think about it after.
But I mean, no, I know it's been there, but yeah. I forgot what I was saying before all that. Oh yeah, so terrible at lying, terrible at cheating and everything like that. And it's mainly like I just like some people have the heart for it, some people have the mindset for it and everything like that. Like, okay. Another reason why I'm bad at cheating is because like if I'm with multiple people, we are going out on dates. We are like I feel like also it's really a waste of money too. Because like you're basically going out this date here, this date here, this date here, and everything like that. And there are people who are out here like, cheating and everything like that and don't spend no time with nobody. Or don't take anybody out on any dates and everything like that. I'm like, yeah, I just can't do that.
Yeah.
Like if I actually find somebody attractive, I'm going to want to spend time with them. I'm going to want to spend this, that, and the other with them. Especially if when I was in that mindset to actually date multiple people, dishonestly. Okay. What? I mean, it wasn't honest.
No, but I'm saying how you set it up, date multiple people dishonestly. You decided to cheat?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but don't make it sound pretty. Cheating. Say it like that. And I was cheating.
So aggressive.
That's what it is. Man, I was out here cheating. You gotta say it like that.
I am not doing that. Anyway.
He was out here cheating.
Anyway. But no, it's like I still don't understand it fully myself. So it's like one of those things where like more conversation is gonna have to be had about it. Especially like dealing with past situations and everything like that. But I will say from like just based off of experience, like if you just ain't got the heart for it, or if you just like, I'm not encouraging anybody to do it because of the fact like one, you don't want your tires slashed, you don't want your windows busted out your car, just like the song and everything like that. Like it's like if you just don't care, you just don't care. But if you I do encourage like being honest about like dating multiple people and being honest about what you want in your relationship from the beginning, because of the fact like one, if that person, like say if like there was some stuff that you wanted to do that I wasn't in full agreement with, like it just wouldn't have happened. The relationship just wouldn't have happened. But also like I think back to like when we first started, when we first saw each other at Fisk and everything like that. I do wish we parts of me do wish that I would have gotten to know you a lot more back then. But at the same time, I'm grateful that I didn't pursue you.
Because you was out here cheating.
Yeah, because we would have hated each other by now.
You wouldn't have hated me. You wouldn't have.
No, if we would have dated each other and everything like that,
you wouldn't hate me. I'd be your biggest regret. That's it. Maybe I'd hate you, but you would just be like, "Damn, that's the one that got away. Look at her out here, fine, and just out here successful."
I'm over here thinking you talking about like putting violence towards me.
No, you would just be like, "Look, she out here fine and successful, and I know how to act right, so I ain't got her." I would have been fine. You would have been sick, like most of my exes. That's just honest. That's just honest. That's me being radically honest.
Yeah. I mean,
speechless. Exactly. That's why I like. Look, I know that there are plenty of other great women out there. I know because I'm related to some. I have great friends, so I know, and I feel like the options in terms of like the pickings, men have much better pickings than women. Who heterosexual men have much better pickings than heterosexual women. But I still know what I bring to all my situations, so I'm just gonna be like, yeah, you'd be like, damn, I shouldn't have acted crazy back in 08, because now look at her in 2020, thriving, even during a pandemic, and I had to act an ass, so now she wouldn't even consider giving me the time of day. But I mean, that's not the life we live. So look, you acted right, you did the right thing, and it paid off. You are blessed. Okay, so I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
When it comes to cheating, do you think, because what John Gray was saying was he did not physically cheat, but there has been some rumors that he did, right? But it was an emotional cheating. So do you think that, one, I've seen some debate as to whether emotional cheating is a thing. But so do you think it's a thing? And then what do you think it constitutes? Like, what constitutes emotional cheating? If you think it's a thing.
I do feel like if you are like deep in your feelings about somebody and everything like that, yeah, that trying to think. Okay. There have been times where like, okay, yeah, even though like I wasn't physically with this person, I was with them, like it's more so the intent behind it. It's much more the emotion behind wanting to be with that person, like also thinking like, oh, I should be with you versus being with this person. And then acting on it and everything like that, just spending more time with that person. Like you can technically, like I do feel like you can cheat without being physical. I mean, and who are we to argue with him about him and his emotional cheating?
I mean, no, I'm not saying that he
I'm not saying you. I'm talking about everybody else. Because I mean, there is power behind that emotion. There's power behind that thought process and everything like that. That's why I say it's cheating, because like also you're putting it out there in the universe, like, okay, maybe something will happen where that will reverse itself. Like you will be end up with that person. But I mean, it could not. I just feel like, yeah, emotional cheating is definitely a thing.
Okay. So what's the difference? Because I also agree that is a thing, but I also feel like in our society, we have, and I feel like I'm probably on the people, more people don't think this than think it. We have this sense of ownership in relationships, right? Where like, now you're my man and I own you, and you're not allowed to have intimate relationships with the opposite sex that's not me.
Wait,
right?
Rewind.
So
I heard the first part.
Okay. So there's a thought that you're not allowed to have intimate. When I say intimate, I don't mean sex, because there's intimacy that goes beyond physical. That you're not allowed to have confiding in someone or have a deep relationship, right? Above surface level relationship with another woman just because you're a heterosexual man. You're not allowed to have that type of relationship with another woman because I'm in your life. And if you do, then that's cheating.
To confide in?
Because that's what he was saying. So part of what his explanation was I was having conversations with this woman and talking and confiding in her in things when it should have been my wife. And so that was my thought of when people were talking about emotional cheating. Can I have someone that is not
the same
you?
sex.
That's it's the opposite sex that I confide in because they're a friend and they're another listening ear, and it not be considered emotionally cheating. And then where is the gauge to say?
I think that's totally different,
right?
In this aspect, only because, like, okay, so there are some times where, like, it depends on, like, the subject as well. Like, there are some times where I will talk to, like, female friends about a certain situation just to make sure I'm not crazy, or they're going to be honest with me to tell me I'm wrong.
Right.
That's the part that I'm looking for. There's no cheating in that.
Yeah.
I do feel like it definitely depends on the subject. Like I have no issue with you having friends of the opposite sex. I just feel like on both of us, like, our friends get the benefit of the doubt. Like, don't overstep certain boundaries.
Yeah.
That goes for me. That goes for both of us. Because, like, this whole thing of owner, like, I don't own you. You don't own me. We're not slaves to each other or anything like that. That's not this type of relationship or anything like that. I feel like if you need to speak to somebody who is the opposite sex and everything like that about, to make sure, like, to see it from a guy's opinion or a guy's point, then there's nothing wrong with that.
It doesn't even have to be like a guy's point. It could just be like, like the way someone hangs out, like the way I might hang out with my women friends, like to hang out with my guy friends. I've always been a girl's girl. So I have way more women friends. I've had a handful of male friends. I'll just say this and very briefly. I actually had a male friend that I was really close to that we're no longer friends because he ended up taking our friendship, trying to take it to another space, and ultimately disrespected this relationship. And because I told you we had that conversation about it, our assessment was like, all right, this person can't be friends, because at the point that it makes you uncomfortable, even if it's like, well, I know this person well enough to know like they meant well, but then I'm like, sometimes you have to make the assessment of which relationship is more important, and I had to make that decision. And so it sucked, because it sucked that that person decided like this is what they wanted to do. But it is what it is. But like, even in that, like, that was a person who I talked to, and it wasn't always about like male ish. It just be like, oh, we just talking about whatever. But we had been friends throughout a number of relationships that I had and that he had, and all that kind of stuff. And it was just like, that's my friend. So we've gone out, like he's been my plus one for weddings. We've gone out to like eat and all that kind of thing. But it's like if I never take it there, if we never take it there, and so in a way, like we had a very intimate relationship. Like we were like friends, and we talked like in very like sweet like tones. But for me, and I get like having different conversations, like why sometimes, and because it came out that he did end up like liking me, that I see how it is from his perspective. Whereas me, it was like I'm very like, that's in this box and this is in this box, and those two boxes don't cross. And so, it never dawned on me that it could be. But so that's why I think when I think about if I had had that kind of relationship with him now, if I had never adjusted my relationship with him, even not in terms of like not being friends, but if I had not adjusted the way he and I interacted when I am in a relationship, even outside of our relationship, when I was in a previous relationship, if I had not adjusted my behavior and our interaction when I'm in relationship with someone, I could see how that would be emotional cheating if we just like still did all the same stuff we did. But also like if the other person is not privy to your relationship with this person. So I think that to me would probably be the biggest contributor to the emotional infidelity.
Right.
If you're talking to someone that I don't know exists, like I don't know this person exists in this capacity in your life, that's gonna be a problem for me. Probably, I never want to be insecure, and because I've dated men who had women best friends, and it's like, well, if this girl's been your friend since you were 5, I always hope it wouldn't end up on some brown sugar type stuff. But what if it does, right? That's the position you put yourself in.
Right.
Then you out here.
I think, okay, so, I mean, of course, I have more women friends than I have male friends and everything like that. So, and there's basically been an issue before and everything like that. It's not necessarily because of how our interaction is. It's always been like, okay, I don't know, like from my ex's point of view, it's like, oh, okay, I don't know this person. I don't know what her intentions are and this, that, and the other. I'm like, okay, I get it. Don't like, okay, there are people who I actually hang around, like Allie and Natur. We've been like, okay, with Allie, we've been friends since high school. Natur, she's been my friend since I was in high school. She was already in like at Chicago State and everything like that. And we did a play together. She played my mama. Allie, she's always been like that person like that I could like talk to when it comes to like I'm trying to understand from a woman's point of view and everything like that. And we always went out to karaoke, this, that, and the other. Like it was just always fun. Like nothing date wise, I guess, or along the line. Like it's much more along the lines like we just having fun, like just being cool and whatnot. I mean, of course, there have been like people that I've been friends with for a good minute that have overstepped a certain boundary where I felt like it was disrespectful to either to my past relationship or to this relationship. And it's like, okay, you're telling me that you want me to be with you instead. That's not going to happen. And this friendship is not going to happen either. I feel like it's like I think about it in the long run, in the future, and everything like that. Like one, I don't want anybody disrespecting this relationship, whether it be on somebody from your end or from my end. I mean, cool. You wanted to bring that information to me. You probably should have just went to your grave with it.
Not your grave.
I mean, there was really no
go to
point.
Therapy, guys. You don't have to go to your grave.
Right.
Talk to your therapist.
Or just let that feeling die. I'm sorry. Like there's nothing that would come from that. Like I just feel like once somebody is in a relationship and everything like that, like yeah, you might as well just go ahead and either hold and bury that stuff deep in your soul, or go to therapy. Because I'm not gonna do anything about that. Besides cut you off. That's the only thing that's going to lead to.
They're hoping it can go somewhere.
Yeah, that's the wrong hope.
It works for some people though.
For some.
Yeah, I have a friend who's married to somebody who, I mean, they were, well, he liked her when she was single and she knew it. And then she got into a relationship with somebody else and he still liked her. He let everybody know that he still liked her, including me. And I was like, yeah, because when it was evident that the other relationship wasn't going to work and they broke up, he was like, okay, now's my chance. Let me get in. Like that should help me. I mean, and he did a little wearing down. And now they're married for 2 years and they're a beautiful couple.
Yeah, that will work for some people. I just feel like,
I mean, it wasn't like he was saying like disrespecting her relationship where he was in it. Like, I like you, forget him. It wasn't like that. Yeah, it wasn't like that. But I mean, it was just very obvious.
He didn't go to her.
No,
exactly.
No. But I mean, because she knew he liked her before she got into that relationship. He just had to. He bided his time.
I mean, technically,
it worked. He was like, I'm just gonna chill here and wait.
I mean, technically, that's what
he waited.
I did,
and it worked. Cause you a creep.
But did it work?
I'm sitting here.
Mm-hmm. Like, how long have I known you? Since 05?
Yeah. Yeah, but a lot could have happened. It could have not worked.
That's true.
Because a lot has happened in between that. You had to bank on literally every other man I've ever dated being a jerk or doing. But
also, wrong. I was also in a relationship.
Yeah, you had to bank on. We had to bank on everybody in our lives prior to not working out. You know how much cheating you had to do to get to me, man. You had to get it all out of your system because I'll cut you. Oh, that's not a joke.
If something happens to me, you know who did it.
I'm from the west side of Chicago. We don't play them types of games. I told you, radical honesty. It just feels good. It's Sunday. Radical honesty. It will do you very well. Okay, before we wrap up, I do have one thing. So, is cheating a 100% deal breaker for you in a relationship?
I feel like at this point, yeah. Like, I just feel like
at any point. So, like, yes, we're dating, but like, say we're married and 3 kids, and I decide to throw my whole ideology of how I feel about cheating away and cheat. Is it a deal breaker?
That won't happen because you said
I mean, it's just we live in hypotheticals. I asked this because we were watching Grey's Anatomy the other night. I mean, even when we watched the season finale earlier in the year, and I see your spoiler alert. If you don't watch Grey's Anatomy, I mean, if you don't watch Grey's Anatomy at this point, you probably forget by the time you get to the 18th episode, 18th season. Is like 30 episodes a season. At this point, you'll forget. But when Teddy cheated on Owen last season, you had a very visceral reaction, especially when we were watching the season premiere. The other night, we were seeing their interaction in terms of like, her asking forgiveness and her explaining the situation. And so it just made me think, like, are you totally like, if you cheat, that's it? There's no reconciliation to be had.
I mean, honestly, I don't see the point in going on. Honestly, because even if I was the one that cheated and everything like that, I honestly wouldn't expect anybody to forgive me. Like, even when I have been forgiven for cheating, I was shocked. I was like, "You sure?" Okay. But I just think I wouldn't be able to get through it. And that's just being honest.
And now, is this just emotion? Is this just physical cheating, or is if there was an emotional infidelity or perceived emotional infidelity?
I feel like if it was emotional cheating, I'm not gonna say that I would be. Um, I can't say. I don't know. I would say like we could probably go to counseling or something like that.
How
With that.
physical would physical have to be? Like if there was a kiss, is it off? Or but it's like, but if there's peen to vag, definitely no.
I think either one is terrible. Like because even still, like there were steps that led up to that. Like even with Teddy, like how many times did she cheat before she got caught?
Oh yeah, he probably only know about the one.
Exactly, and it was just that one little voicemail and whatnot, and like boom, like I'm sorry, like I don't feel bad for her because if like say if it was me in any situation that I've been in, like just even stepping from the outside, like I didn't feel bad for myself because I'm like, yeah, you knew what you was doing there, you knew what you was doing, and it's like one of those things where you really have to look in the mirror and understand, like, yeah, you contributed, like step by step, all the way into this point that you got caught. Mm-hmm. You just got to be real with yourself about that, and just like I had to. Okay. So I mean, I honestly don't know if I would be able to get past that, or I don't understand how anybody could get past that. Same with John Gray's wife. Mm-hmm. What's her name?
Appinger.
Yeah, like honestly, how many more times are you willing to go through that?
It's probably a financial component with them.
Half. Half.
Depends on what state you live in. Doesn't always work that way. And yeah, and half is one thing, but half when you can have it all is really different. I'm not saying. Apparently, she's still there, and it's been years. So apparently, it might be. They got, and not like a little bit of money, like a lot of money, like like lots of money. So I do think that I think that is very much so a factor in why she does it.
Like I don't think necessarily like okay. I wouldn't go to the point like if you were cheating on me and everything like that, I wouldn't take your route. I wouldn't cut you and everything like that. Like I just feel like there just wouldn't be any point in going forward.
I didn't say I wouldn't forgive you though.
But I'm over here cut.
I didn't say where I cut you. I didn't even say I'd physically cut you.
You gonna cut me with your eyes?
I mean, I am also gonna physically cut you, but I didn't say that.
Why are you still smiling?
Because I'm happy. That's interesting.
What?
No, I'm just saying that's an interesting take on it. I mean, I kind of knew that about you, that you that cheating is a deal breaker for you for the most part.
Which is weird because like even when I have cheated and everything like that, it's like okay, like you don't like when you see it flip and everything like that. Like because even when I've gotten cheated on and everything like that, like I'm like okay. There have been times where I did forgive and everything like that. And I'm like okay, and I wasn't even cheating. So it was much more like I try to get through, but at the same time, it's like, what's the point? So I don't, like I said, I don't expect anybody to forgive me if I cheated or anything like that. I don't expect for you to forgive me if I ever scratch that part.
You said people do stuff.
Yeah, people do stuff.
Yes, I do believe that ourselves today, right? 34 and 33 sitting in these chairs, November 15th, 2020, don't believe they would ever do it. But I've done things that I never thought I'd ever do. And I've had things done to me by people that I never thought would do it to me. So I'm not going to begin to pretend like you said, anything is possible. I can strongly believe it would not happen. I could be shocked beyond belief. But I'm going to leave 0.00001% chance that it could happen because humanity.
Right.
That's interesting. Cheating is not a deal breaker for me. depending upon the circumstances. If I catch you, yes, it's a deal breaker. Again, it's the deceit. It's the deceit. If you came to me and said, right, later, right? So you came to me and said, okay, I need to have a conversation with you. I was having this, we were in a bad spot, and I was having this conversation. I was talking to, this person, and I was confiding in them, and, like how Richard was talking about with Gemma.
Yeah, okay.
And it's like I was confiding her because you were ignoring me, and we had this big blowout, and we were separated, and we were on the outs, and we are trying to figure ourselves out. And she threw herself at me, right? And like she kissed me, but it just so I allowed her to get too close and comfortable where she thought that was an option, because it wasn't just like she accosted me on the street. We were in a setting where she felt comfortable enough, and I was with her enough to allow her to do that.
Okay.
And so, and you came and told me we could work through that. We could go to counseling. We could have conversations, because it's still about the honesty. Like, yes, I was mad at you. Yes, we were mad at each other. And yes, we were in a bad place. But if we had not said, no, this doesn't work for us, we're completely done with one another, it didn't give me the space to say, yes, I can pursue something else with somebody else, or I could lead someone to believe that something else was possible. And so I want to let you know that I have had this even emotional, and maybe like it got semi-physical, the moment of infidelity. But if I just catch you cheating, and it's like, oh, you got a whole secret family and you've been cheating for months, or I catch you, if I ever see, and I don't go through phones, I don't do none of that. I honestly, if I've done, and I've had to do this, because when I feel like something is wrong, and it sounds crazy, and I know a lot of guys will be like, oh my God, that's crazy. Anytime my intuition, it's not just like a feeling, it's something like deep down in your soul. And I can't explain women's intuition other than that. And anytime I've ever ignored that feeling, I was right. Literally 100% of the time, when I was just like, I don't know, I was always right. So I always said I'd never ignore that feeling ever again. So if I feel like you're cheating and something is not right, I'll leave. I don't need proof. I'll be like, nope, it's not working, because something is wrong. Something you're not telling me. So you're being deceitful. And to me, like I said, the biggest part of cheating is the deceit. It is the deception. That's the problem for me. It's the deception. So if I caught you cheating, like if I found out there were, inappropriate messages, like most people in divorce court, and they be like seeing the inappropriate messages, but they still need the proof, physical proof. I don't need to see like semen on the bed. I don't need that. That is it. That is it for me. It's like, so if I catch you, it's a deal breaker. If you come to me because something happened and you need to have, and not like you slipped your penis on. Like I was just, the wind blew, and we blew my zipper open, and my penis just went like, and it slept on the forehead.
Like that Bruce Almighty situation.
Yeah. Then my penis just slapped her on the forehead. Like none of that, right? Like not that. But like if you were having a moment of weakness, and like you let someone kiss you, or you kissed them, or you just had a conversation, or you were inappropriate in that way, we could have a conversation. I'm not saying we definitely be together, but it would not be no conversation needs to be had. But if you cheat on me, like, and I catch you, we can be 80 years old. I'm gonna leave your 80-year-old ass out. I don't care. People starting whole new lives at that age. If that's what you want to do at 80, you want to pop a little pill and get your groove back, you see how you doing your own out in these streets. And I guarantee that in 2070, it's gonna be real rough out in these streets. Okay,
They're gonna be a whole different story.
In 2070, it's gonna be rough out in these streets. But that's all I got. We've been talking for a while.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it's already 2:00. When did it become 2:00? Okay. Man. What else? Anything else you want to add?
I feel like there's definitely going to be a part two about this because like there's a lot that we didn't cover,
Okay.
and I feel like even in the beginning, like trying to collect my thoughts about the like because like there's differences and like different situations and everything like that, and I don't want to ever put myself in a position where I'm looking down on somebody that, like I said, that I've actually done the same thing, if not more.
I'm gonna judge you.
I mean, yeah, we can feel like he's wrong and everything like that. Like he's definitely wrong, but
you also never been married and all that. You never stood in front of people and promised to be monogamous, even if there's an understanding.
Sure.
It's different. I do believe, and no one can tell me it's not different because then why get married? It is different. You commit to yourself to somebody, you absolutely, and you're a pastor. You are held to a much higher standard,
higher.
And I get that you're human, but if you don't want this job, then don't take the job. Do something else. Do something else. Don't be a pastor. People are like, I get, oh, it's so hard, and there are people too. Yes, but they're also, that's the job they say. It's like I expect the president. Donald Trump has clearly changed people's minds about what the president should and shouldn't be doing out in these streets. But certain jobs, if you cannot handle it, don't take the job.
Right.
That's it. If you can't handle that being a husband, don't take the job. Be single. There are plenty of people out here who just want to do it and no commitment. I at one point was that person. Just want to be out here doing it. Not commit to anybody. Find those people. Link with those people. Don't go get with somebody who wants faithfulness and monogamy and connect with them just to cheat. But that's why I also think, last thing I'm going to say, cheating is not always about the physical aspect or wanting to be with more people. It's a power thing. It's kind of like how when people talk about rape is not necessarily always sexual. Rape is a power thing. Mm-hmm. It's about having power over the other person. So when people are cheating, it's often about power over this person, and not necessarily in that situation, and not necessarily just about being with somebody else.
Right.
So yeah, we might need a part two. Not next week, but another time.
Right.
Anything else, baby?
Thank you guys for watching and supporting us, and thank you for following us on our journey and everything like that, and hearing her telling people that she's gonna cut me if stuff happens. But I just want to thank you guys for tuning in and like I said, being along with us for the journey and everything like that.
Yes, thank you guys. And also know that if he gets cut, then you know he cheated, and you know I'm not a liar. Radical honesty. Thank you guys for joining us as another episode. We can't wait to talk to you again next week. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast everywhere or anywhere you get your podcast. And don't forget to also subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching, you can also watch this. If you're listening, you can watch. If you're watching, you can listen. So just pick your poison. Not literally, don't poison yourself. Thank you and have a great day. Bye, y'all.
Peace.